The Oregon Ducks left 111 fans appropriately dressed for a whiteout game, quickly seeking to change into black to mourn after the Ducks pulled off a 30-24 double overtime win in Happy Valley. Welcome to the Ducks Confidential podcast, which is soon going to become the George Wrighster Roast Aaron Fentress podcast, because I'm going to pay the price because I didn't have the faith that I should have probably had in the Ducks winning this game. But before we get to that, let me get the ad read in right now, because George is he's just chomping at the bit, waiting to go off because I picked against the Ducks. Let me just read this ad real quick. Today's episode of the George Roast Aaron Fentress Ducks Confidential podcast is brought to you by Travel Lane County, which I'm going to call so I can take a trip to get the hell out of here, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, George, I know I picked the Ducks to lose. I know you're just, before we get to the topics, I'm just going to let you go, but I'm going to take some precautions here, put on my noise cancellation headphones, and you go right ahead.
You can hear me. You got your earbuds in. You playing pretend right now. You can hear me. You might as well take them joints off, buddy, because that is not going to help you today.
Go ahead.
The first question I have for you. So see, here's the thing is, I thought about this. I contemplated, how am I going to handle this? Like, Aaron probably expects just such a roast right now coming in. So I'm going to give you a chance to what do you have to say for yourself, Aaron? Would you like to offer an apology to Ducks Nation? Would you like to offer an apology for your Judas behavior, for your lack of faith, for your it seemingly trying like how if you're in a relationship and somebody's just arguing one day and you want to say, why do you want to fight? So what do you have to say for yourself, Aaron? What do you have to say to Ducks Nation after when you were sitting up in that press box and it was 3-3 and Penn State couldn't run the football? What were you thinking at that point? I want to go, actually, I really need to know what your thought process was. So you're there at the stadium, pre-game. You see the whiteout. What are you thinking at that moment when you're sitting in the press box and you see 111,000 people and 99.5% of them have all white on and they're loud?
I'm thinking it's a pretty cool. Wait, I didn't hear anything you said. No, I'm thinking it's a pretty cool environment. It was, it was pretty intense. Sorry, spam call. And that was actually, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, honey? Was it? Oh, emergency? Okay. No, I was thinking it was going to be an amazing event and an amazing environment. I mean, what else am I supposed to be thinking? What are you fishing for, George?
No, I'm asking what. So because I like to set the scene, kind of like for Northwestern. So what was it like in there? Because you were there. I couldn't go because my wife was leaving out of town. I missed one of the events that I wanted to be at this year, to be a husband. But so tell us what it was like in the stadium, because we've heard about it on TV, everything else. What was it like in there?
It was pretty amazing. I mean, you get 111,000 people all wearing white, section where they had the pom-poms going and the the different songs are popping up and they're singing the songs, and it was cool. The only thing I've probably stadium I've been to that was maybe remotely close was Nebraska. I haven't been to Michigan. I've been to Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State touched that event. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was one of those things that just reminds you of what college football is at its peak. And then the tailgating outside was phenomenal too. Like, it just went on forever. So definitely a fantastic atmosphere for sure.
How loud was the stadium, like comparatively to other places that you've been?
We were in a press box that was only partially open, and it was not as loud. I didn't feel it was as loud as Austin. I didn't feel it was as loud as even Seahawks Stadium.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard from players and coaches and staff that were, because I asked 5 people who were there. I was like, how loud was it? They were like, It was cool. The Ohio State game was way louder last year, and they were like, it was loud. The environment was dope,
Yeah.
but the noise that everybody was talking about wasn't as it wasn't really an issue. Like it was kind of presented that it was going to be on television.
Yeah, I think just the the whiteout aspect of it and how many people could be intimidating, but it didn't feel overly loud at all. Maybe it's just the way the stadium is built. Because Austin's just the way it is. I mean, I covered a high school game 25 years ago in Austin, and all the fans are a state championship game, and all the fans were on one side, and someone scored, and there was a roar, and I could have sworn it came from behind me, and I looked behind me, and there was no one there. That's how it bounced off the stadium wall. So yeah, Austin's just a different animal. So yeah, I didn't feel like the noise was probably going to be that big of a factor.
So first quarter goes on. What are you thinking at the?
You're just gonna slowly torture me. Yeah, this is like Hostile. You're gonna cut my Achilles, and you're gonna go ahead.
So it's 0-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Correct.
What are you thinking at that point? Because your original premise was that that Ohio State was going to run over the Ducks, that they weren't going to be able to stop the run game. Aller didn't have to be great, but he was going to be efficient because he was this, and that Dante Moore was going to struggle and all of this stuff. So what at the end of the first quarter, what were you thinking?
Okay, I want to point out that I can't be a Judas because I'm not in the Ducks family. I just cover them. You could be the Judas, not me. But anyway.
Okay.
So the first drive, I tweeted after I think the second drive that Penn State was just trying to be too damn cute. Like they were misdirection motion, which they do a lot, right? They're motion, they're shifting guys around, and then they throw a throwback screen, right? And they're running wide. And I'm thinking, why are you not just coming out and attacking these guys with the run? Why are you doing all this stuff? And after 2 series, I was thinking, you know what? I think they're scared to run the football. I don't think they have confidence they can just come in and just run right at Oregon. And it played out that way. And so at the end of the first quarter, I'm thinking, okay, the run game is not going to be nearly as dominant as I thought it was going to be. And of course, at halftime, what they have, 70 yards total at halftime, I think, something like that. It was like 189 to 80 or something, and maybe 28 on however 2 yards per carry, something like that. So yeah, I saw you. I saw George. Where's your running game now? Where's your running game now? And I saw Newman. You were dominant. You were questioning the front seven. So yeah, it became clear to me that not only was Oregon stuffing it, but that Penn State didn't have a lot of confidence they could run the football between the tackles.
So then halftime, 3-3, the Ducks have missed the kick. What are you thinking when the Ducks probably should have been up 6-3 or at that point?
Yeah, I tweeted that it was 3-3, but that Oregon was clearly outplaying them because it was 189 to 80 in yards gained. You could see that Oregon was able to move the ball much better than Penn State.
Yeah, and that they were going to score eventually. Like that.
I kind of felt like they were definitely not going to not score a touchdown. And to that point too, Dante had thrown for 91 yards, but what he, so it wasn't, it's like they did a lot, but what he demonstrated in that first half was that he was not affected, but he wasn't making bad decisions or making critical mistakes. That Penn State played some good defense too, right?
Yes.
So it was a defensive battle. And so in those situations with a young quarterback, what you're scared of is that they're going to force something, right? They're going to make a throw they shouldn't make, or they're going to give up a sack they shouldn't give up. And then that puts you, behind the 8 ball, but he didn't do any of that. So going into halftime, I'm thinking, this is clearly going to be a game that Dante doesn't appear rattled. Now, I wondered if Penn State built a lead, what would happen, but I didn't feel like Dante was going to crumble, and I didn't feel like Penn State had confidence they could run the football, which was going to be trouble, because then it falls on Aller, and you just kind of expect Aller to just screw it up. I told you. And it was just like last year's Big Ten title game. Like, he got hot and brought him back. He had that spectacular fourth and goal from the 20 or something like that touchdown pass in that game. But he threw the critical pick at the end. Yep. And he did the same thing again, which I know we're going to talk to later. A great play by Fenneman, don't get me wrong, but good God, what are you doing, Drew Aller? But that was my feelings then. So continue, go ahead.
So then it's 17-3 at the end.
Trying to torture me straight up.
The third quarter, 17-3 at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah. And
then I sent you a text. I said, "Don't doubt my Ducks manhandling these bees." And you said that you did not see it.
I didn't see it later.
Okay. So what were you thinking at the end of the third quarter when it was 17? Well, no. Sorry. Because it wasn't 17-3 until the early in the fourth quarter. So when it was 17-3, what were you thinking?
The Dallas Morning News reached out to me a couple years ago about covering the Mavericks. And so I went and found that email, and I messaged the woman to see if they had any job openings in Dallas. And then I called my wife, and I was like, yo, baby, we're moving to Dallas because there's no way I can come back to Oregon and deal with these knuckleheads after this. So, and I'm not 100% lying. But anyway, so no, I was the drive. They came out in that next drive, and they just were clicking. So clearly they made some adjustments. Dante was just grooving. Like he didn't light the world on fire, right? He threw 3 touchdowns, but one was a shovel pass. But he played such. Sometimes you have games like NFL games. Sometimes you have a game where it's a tight defensive battle, and so it's not about how many yards you throw for, how many touchdowns you throw for. It's about how smart you play the game. And Dante was just clear that, okay, this kid is not going to screw this up. I don't think, right? And so they moved right down and scored. They got to stop like right away and then moved down and scored again. Because I think they started 2 possessions in the third quarter because both teams ate clock. And so the next possession ended early fourth quarter with the Davison run, just 8 yards, fourth and one from 8 yards out. He just beautiful blocking on that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking it's kind of over.
Yeah. So I was thinking at first, I was like, Dan's not going to take the points here and go up two scores. He was like, nah, fam, we going for it. And they ran it in. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, it was obvious who the best team was. Like I thought it was obvious who the better team was, who the more physical team was, even though that I had a lot of respect for Penn State for the way that they played. And then Penn State comes down and scores twice. And do you know what I thought at that point in time after they scored the first touchdown, and it was 10-3 because they went 5 plays, 75 yards, and
all of a sudden they learned how to play football again.
Yeah. So, but I didn't even think that I thought that was more Oregon than it was Penn State, because in that moment I thought, oh my God, Aaron Fentress was actually right about something. Hold on. Here's what you were right about, and is that, but you were wrong about what the lesson was going to be, because you said that I believe that this can be a growing experience for the Ducks and all of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You were 100% right about that. It was a growing experience, but the growing experience was learning how to finish, because Dan at that point knew the game should have been over. The problem was the Ducks didn't know how to close because it is a young team, newer quarterback. You're playing a bunch of freshmen all over the place. You got a new right tackle who commits a bad penalty, 15-yard penalty. Then you have to punt the ball away. It was not I didn't believe that the Ducks knew how to close at that point in time. And I think that was the lesson, and that's how you got into overtime. Because that last the first touchdown was just a breakdown in coverage. Now, if they score, cool, but you got to make them take the hard route, like 12, 13, 14 plays to go score. And then that last drive where they scored, that felt like that they were just like they were walking through the raindrops on that drive. I think they had like a couple first downs, like they were just inching forward. Aller wasn't playing with any confidence. He was standing up there looking like, and then like trying to take off and run and just barely avoid. It was like, you're like, they keep slipping out of your fingers. And so I think that was the lesson. But the biggest overall thing, Aaron, and this is what I tried to tell you, is that I didn't think that people fully understood how good this kid Dante Moore is. And not just talent-wise. And remember, the thing that we said that he had to prove was, and people didn't understand that, of course, he was emotional after the game, but I believe his emotion was not tied to just winning the game. I believe his emotion was tied to that he had the trouble at UCLA. He sat on the field in his last game, helmet off, when he got it knocked off, had the little stupid shiesty on and just sat there. He looked defeated. And for him to come back, sit on the bench, humble himself, learn to be a leader, fix himself, grow as a human, and and he knows in his mind and his body who he is, but there's always a little bit of piece of ourselves that doubt that even if it's not in the forefront of your mind where you know who you are, but then when you prove who you are, that's an emotional moment when you're like, I know who I am, I know what's in me, and then you go actually do it.
Yeah.
Now his confidence is unshakable, because now he has, like, he knows that stuff is gone, that this is who he is. And so that's where I think that his emotion stemmed from, because he was crying after the game. I didn't believe that yes, it was about the game, but it was more about he proved to himself that he is who he believes he is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and I knew what this team was in terms of physicality. I looked at the Big Ten championship, and remember, I got a chance to talk to Dan Lanning, Tosh Lupoy, Will Stein, and Mullins this offseason, all on the Unafraid Show on YouTube. So you can go check those interviews out. And in private and on camera, asked them about the Big Ten championship. And especially off camera about the defense, because they were like, they caught us off guard. But it was great because we had to make changes in our defense to be able to deal with the hurry up. It was one of those growing moments as coaches. So that's why I was not concerned about them dealing with Penn State speed. And I knew that the physicality was there. And that is big. And then it comes down to the coaching, right? I believe that coaches take on that teams take on the personality of their coaches. James Franklin, smart guy, good coach, all of these things. I also believe that I've seen him get timid in his team's preparation, clearly, because when they play Ohio State, when they play Oregon now, all of this stuff, they come out with this conservative, it's like he's happy to keep the game close and then wants to try to, hope they can figure out a way to win in the end.
Right.
When fortune favors the aggressive in football, and he just has not turned that corner in his coaching mind. And
okay,
Dan
can I just
Lanning,
make one point? But you're talking about Franklin, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't trust his quarterback. Continue.
But it's the same thing. It was the same thing when he had Sorsby or Soulsby, and he hasn't been why has he not been able to have a competent quarterback at Penn State?
Oh,
that's a question.
Yeah.
And it is Drew Aller, it is clear as day to me. And I've said it, and I'm normally not, as the person who has quarterback sons, Aaron, I'm normally not super hypercritical of quarterbacks, because I understand what that lifestyle is like, and it's hard. But I've been telling everybody, Drew Aller, he's not that guy. He's not what everybody wants him to be, whether it's because he's not been developed properly or whatever it is. He looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And
he reminds me of Jay Cutler. I'm a Bears fan, Cubs fan. Cubs playoffs start tomorrow. He reminds me of Cutler. Cutler could go out there and make some great throws. Better. Well, of course, he's NFL speed for 15,000 yards. But in terms of he can make big plays, great arm. Because that throw Aller threw on the
yes, that was
corner,
a dime.
It's gorgeous. That was an NFL caliber throw.
Because if he underthrows that throw, it's a pick.
Right. But then he does what he did with the Thinman thing, which is the kind of thing Cutler used to do. So I think that's why Franklin doesn't trust him to just let him air it out, because you just don't know what he's going to do. The interception against Notre Dame last year, when he says he was trying to throw it at someone's feet, and he basically threw it to Notre Dame in the playoffs to end that game. So yeah, he is what he is. You called that. I believe he's going to come in this year and maybe be more sure, a year later, and he hasn't demonstrated that at all. So I got that part wrong.
Yeah.
All right. But let's hold on a second. Let's not pretend it wasn't 17-17. Let's not pretend Penn State didn't score 3 straight touchdowns and lead in overtime. So it's not my assessment of what I thought was going to happen, because there's a difference between picking the winner and saying how a game's going to go. You can pick the winner, but get it wrong on how it's going to go. You could get it right on how you think it's going to go, and then your teams could still lose. In this case, I got the winner wrong, and I got the way the game was going to go wrong. All right. But there was a moment there where Penn State was about to steal, a win from the jaws of defeat. So you tell me how you felt with Oregon down to 7 in the overtime.
Oh, when we were down 7 and no. I was like, when they were going in to score to go tie the game, I was like, I know we are not about to just let a game that we dominated. I mean, truly, I felt like Oregon dominated the football game.
Three quarters.
And then you're like, oh my God, we don't know how to close. We don't know how to close. And it was one of those, I was like, man, we can't let this game just get stolen from us. Jesus Christ.
Did you see me over your head going, ha?
Yes, I did. I was like, oh my God, Aaron is like, yes, please.
Okay,
please,
let me clarify. I do not root against them. I did not want to hear you guys' nonsense, but if someone asked
just
me,
wanted to be right. Yes.
Well, that's the thing. It's a tug, right? It's like, well, I don't want to be wrong, but I don't necessarily want them to lose. So, like, I wasn't mad. I was happy for the kids. Like, I was happy for Dante. Like, I mean, I don't know the Penn State guys. I'd rather see the Oregon kids win. So
I did get a little trepidation in that moment, but I was like, hold up, let's see what we're made of. And when we went out and and it was 4th down. Actually, first on that 3rd down throw, I think it was third and 8, he threw it to Lamar, and it was a potential targeting. Mm-hmm. They don't call targeting, which is I hate the targeting rules just in general. It's not consistent. How
is that not targeting? I saw someone on Twitter today saying that per the rules that wasn't targeting. What am I missing?
It's a moving target every single week. They're like, well, he established himself as a runner, so he's no longer a defensive player. Didn't lead with the crown. It's a BS. They need to go with targeting 1 and targeting 2, 15-yard penalty, and then for an egregious penalty, you kick them out of the game. So you're kicking less kids out of the game and all of this stuff. But anyways. Then it's 4th and 1, and I'm like, yo, we got to get this first down. But we were so close to the end zone, I said, if we get the first down, we're going to score, So then we get the first down, score, and then we get the ball back. And I said, oh, I feel good. We're going to win now. But after we got past the first overtime, I was like, oh, we're going to stop them. I was very confident at that point in time. And then when we scored on the first play, I was like, oh, we're being aggressive again. And we scored in the first play because I knew that was then going to put more pressure on Penn State. And I was like, if we can just stuff them on first down to like force them to have to pass the ball, we're going to win. And Drew Aller, and they felt that pressure to answer quick. And Drew Aller was like, oh, I got it. And blinders. Threw it.
Absolute blinders.
I mean, that ball could have been picked by 2 different people. If Thieneman didn't pick it, the 21 to safety might have been able to get over in front too.
Flowers.
And the ball, like, it would have been a hard catch because the guy even got hit anyway.
Right.
It would have been either a pick. It was a terrible throw. Like, it was telegraphed. And this is the thing that I told people about Penn State's offense and Drew Aller. Because even on that touchdown pass that he threw, that was a one read. Like, it is a one guy read. If he doesn't like it, if he doesn't like his first read, he goes down and then he's like, ooh, check down. And then the check down's not there. Then he's like, oh, I guess I got to run. Let me find somewhere. But it doesn't feel intentional. It doesn't feel in control.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know,
it doesn't
100%.
feel.
He's never in rhythm. He's never in rhythm.
It feels like a panic run as opposed to like,
right.
oh, let's pull it down. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, it feels like he's in constant chaos.
Right. His processing is slow.
Yes.
He almost plays like he's playing in the park with his friends. We just kind of drop back and just kind of look for your friend to break open because he's running a triple post corner comeback wheel. Yes. Right. And then he takes off. I want to go back to this play because first of all, Thieneman was all over it. Right. Yep. I mean, because he was playing in the middle. It looked like they were playing man on the right, zone on the left. He was in the middle, almost like a rover. And then right away, he sprints over there. Well, there was only one receiver to his right. And there was a corner on him, and there's still a safety behind him. There's no safety on this side, right? So he had no reason necessarily to worry about that side of the field. And Penn State, when they motioned the guy over, now they had 4 receivers on the short side of the field. They were on the right hash mark.
Because
and they run a
go, trying to be tricky. Everything's trying to be tricky.
But who are you fooling with that? And with 4 receivers going to the same spot, like 2 backs went out into the like swings, like they were right next to each other. And then you had the wheel, and the guy ran the wheel kind of slow. I think he knew he was covered, and then he looks back and speeds up a little bit, and Allard just and wasn't even like if he'd have lofted it, then maybe you have a chance for him tight end to go up and catch it, and he gets blasted by the safety, right? But he didn't see Thieneman at all. He just threw it right to him, and he threw it so like he was just kind of, oh damn. Like, so I give Thieneman credit because he did a good job. And actually, I went back and watched a couple of Penn State games, real quick, and found that play that he had recognized that when that guy's in that slot, they run wheel a lot. But they've run it out of different formations and different complementary routes, but they did run it. But when they ran it, like they ran it one time, I think against Villanova, everything was to the wide side. So had that been to the wide side, then the tight end's getting wider, and Thieneman, he may still get over there, but you have more width to throw it out away towards the sideline. And you have those swings who are able to widen further. But because you're right near the sideline, no one had anywhere to go on their width.
They were trying to protect him.
Tight. And so it was just a bizarre play call all the way around. But Thieneman was just, it's funny to watch on film because he's just like, oh, I know. He's throwing it to me? Yeah, like, what the hell? Yeah. So bizarre.
That was after the game, I started making a list of the top 10 Oregon victories that I have of all time, right?
Okay.
And when I say all time, I mean from like in the 90s on, because of course there were some big wins prior, but they didn't have any like relevance. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then I started thinking, so I made a list, and I was like, dude, obviously the 94 pick has to be on there against UW because that was a seminal moment.
I made a list too, but go ahead. We'll go through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking regular season or bowl? Are you counting bowl games or just regular season?
Yeah, I'm counting everything.
I made regular season, but we can add bowls. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I have on there. Hold up. Where'd it go? Where the hell's my list at? God dang it. Okay, so just off the top of my head, it was the Florida State Rose Bowl was huge.
That's the greatest one of all time, period.
Yeah. That's got to be up there. I think this Penn State game is up there. The 19 game. Oh wait, no, sorry. The 21 game at Ohio State was big. What else was on there? Oh, damn it. I forgot a couple.
I'll go through my list and then you can just agree with me. All right, so 94 Washington, clearly. I have 2000 Texas Holiday Bowl.
Yes, I had that on there too. I played in that game. That was a big.
Oh, you were in that game? Okay, never mind. Let me delete that one. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, and I remember crying on the field because I was so mad after the game. I was mad after the game.
Because you didn't score?
No, I didn't. Because I finished that season, I did not catch a single pass. I played at least 20 plays every single game. Joey threw me a ball in Wisconsin that first game, threw a terrible pass. I got flipped over, landed on my head, ball pops out, didn't throw it past me the rest of the season. I was so upset. I was like, yo, everybody's so happy we won this game. I'm on the field crying because I'm like, bro, nobody would even look in the stat sheet and know that I even played. That's probably why you thought I was a JUCO transfer, because I didn't have no stats that season. Probably. And so, and I was like, I'm never letting this happen again. And that was actually one of the best moments of my whole life. Like that moment, finishing that season, crying on the field. So that's why I remember that one so vividly. So
next year, 2001 Fiesta of Colorado, obviously. Yeah. Regular season, Michigan, 2003. Yep. Michigan was ranked number 3.
Yep. Huge.
Oklahoma, 2006. I didn't have anything for 4 or 5. 4 was a disaster kind of a season. 5 was a great season, but they didn't have it necessarily a signature win that year. 7, they beat Michigan at Michigan. 2010 was a showdown with Stanford, 2 top 10 teams that they won at home. 2011 Rose Bowl over Wisconsin. That was a big deal, clearly. Yep. 12, there was not really a big signature win in 12, I didn't feel like. Neither in 13. In 14, beating number 7 Michigan State at home, and then, of course, winning the Rose Bowl. Now, we could throw the Pac-12 title games in there if we want to, but UCLA in 2011, that was a dud. Arizona was a good revenge game, but I don't consider that a great win. 2015, they won at Stanford. No, Stanford was ranked number 7, so that was a big win.
But that doesn't, to me,
it didn't lead to anything great, but still, you go on the road to beat a top 10 team, that's, They beat Washington, was ranked number 8 and 18, but again, they followed up losing two straight, including at Washington State. But still, you beat a top 10 team. 2021 Ohio State, 2024 Ohio State at home. I didn't have anything for 22-23. I couldn't come up with anything that was really monumental. And then of course, this one beating a top 5 team on the road at Penn State. So that was my list.
Yeah, that's basically all the same games that I had on the list too. I just didn't put the Stanford games on there because, yes, they were big, but it was a conference foe. It didn't.
This was a conference foe. See, I almost thought that too, but this is now a conference foe.
Oh, I did have I think it was either 99 or 2000 USC in Austin.
Okay, let me add the Big Ten title game last year, and then you said 99 or 2000 USC.
Yes. When Nate Villegas kicked the game winner, and then Joey jumped on him and tore his ACL.
He tore the kicker's ACL?
Yes, he did.
Did he sue?
No, dude. So it was either 99 or 2000. I think it was 99 because I'm pretty sure I didn't play in that game. So that was a year I redshirted.
Trojans fall to Ducks in 3 overtime thriller?
Yes.
It was 33-30? What was USC ranked? They were 2-1 at the time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
2-0.
Yeah, I don't remember that. They were ranked high though. I believe. And it was just such a big deal to beat USC.
Yeah, just to beat them in general.
At that point in time, beating USC was like, Now beating USC is like, I mean, we're supposed to. Yeah, you're like, we're supposed to. You don't storm the field after you beat USC.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Is there anything else you want to say about this one? Are you done trashing me?
Man, it honestly, the whole buildup of the week, it was crazy. I actually got a little bit emotional about it because it mattered to me because where the program is now, right? I was a part of, I got there the year the jerseys changed, and 98, I feel, well, actually 94 with that pick game was kind of the start of that's how we got to the uniforms changing. There was a meeting with Phil Knight and some other people that he was like, how can we turn this team into a winner? And so there was a plan made. And then that plan started being implemented in 98. And then 99, the uniforms changed. And when you think about just the recruiting, the brand, the elevation of it, when we were in 2001, when we should have been in the national championship game playing against Miami, but we played in that Fiesta game, which was a huge win. We were not even though we had a lot of guys on that team that went to the NFL, Miami was a more talented football team. You know what I mean?
That team had 17 first-round picks on it.
Yeah. And then in 2010, when we went to the national championship, we had a bunch of good players, but Auburn was the more talented team.
Right.
Then in 15, we had, a lot of first-round picks. Marcus, DeForest,
Armstead.
Efo
could have been.
Yeah, but we were not nearly as deep as Ohio State, right?
Quick stat on that. So Ohio State had more players on their roster taken in the first 3 rounds the following draft after that game than the Ducks had taken in the first 3 rounds the next few years. That's the difference in the talent base.
Yeah. So you were always that was our badge of honor that we punch above our weight class, right?
Right.
But now when you look at the level of the program, we are the weight class now. If that you would be hard pressed to find a roster in college football, maybe 1 or 2 at the most, that have more talent than Oregon has. And those you're it's a fair fight. It's comparable. You're not you're not even you're not looking at any team and saying, oh my God, they got more dudes than us. You're just okay, now this is about coaching, preparation, execution. And you feel like when you go into fights now, that you're the bully now. And that's actually pretty cool. And I don't want fans to lose that same humble energy that like, and get jaded to the fact of that being able to enjoy wins. Like if we beat Indiana in 2 weeks, like enjoy that win. Don't just, oh, we're supposed to beat Indiana. No, enjoy it like it was the Penn State game.
Okay, so let me do what I do and try and bring things down just a little bit. They didn't win 38-10, right? They were losing in overtime. They very easily could have lost this game, right? So a rematch, who knows what could happen, right? And they got they have some tough games ahead coming up. Let me run through that real quick. Let me call it back to my rundown real quick.
Here's what I will say while you're coming back to that.
Go ahead.
If Oregon and Penn State play again, I believe that we win by 10 or more points.
Damn.
Because I do believe that we can close now. I believe that this was a growing moment for this team. I mean, like, and that was on the road. Like, imagine if Drew Aller plays like that at home. Imagine if that game is in Alton Stadium.
I know, but
I don't like. There's nothing about this Penn State team offensively that scares me, because we can line up. And when I watched the film, I went back and watched the all 22. Aaron, there were 5 or 6 plays that I saw for sure that were everybody is blocked up except for one Penn State guy makes you bubble it a little bit wider. And granted, because they are a good team, this sort of thing happens. Like there was 5 or 6 plays where the running backs on running plays would have hit their head on the goalpost. Had one player not, penetrated just a tad bit too far. Don't clip that. That it would have been huge plays. So I believe that there were so many plays left out on the field that there's more points to be scored in regulation. So I believe. But
the other team adjusts too. The other team's going to make adjustments too. You're saying they can't though.
I believe that Penn State, with the way that they run their offense, it's not that they don't, because Aller, they can't change Aller. He is who he is. If he were a better passer, yes, of course, but that's not who he is. Like Kerry Collins ain't walking through that door. So if Kerry Collins was back there, sure, right? It'd be a hell of a fight, but that's not the case. I'm saying with this guy at quarterback, I do not feel like they can beat us.
Okay, so let's go through a couple of these big ones we talked about. Some of these big regular season wins and what happened next. 2003, Michigan, they fell apart after that. 2006, Oklahoma, they fell apart after that. 2007, Michigan, Dennis got hurt. That doesn't really count. 2021, Ohio State, yep, things fell apart late that season. Well, they lost to Stanford, then they got blown out by Utah twice. Last year, beat Ohio State, big win, rematch, blown out. So, it's not like it's a guarantee that when you win this type of game that this means you are going to do X, Y, Z.
Well,
we're gonna see what they do the rest of the season.
I think that the 21 season is an aberration because Mario Cristobal was walking out the door and we got manhandled by Utah twice as he was packing his house up. And then and trying to tell everybody he wasn't. And then he went to go. Now here's the coldest part. He went to go visit his mom who was sick, right? Mm-hmm. In Miami. But that was a secondary reason for him going to Miami. Mm-hmm. He was getting everything finished, getting buttoned up.
I know. While he
was out there.
Who told you he was leaving?
You. But
yeah, okay.
But I was and so see, but I also, I mean, as a whole nother aside, it didn't look like at that point in time, like prior to that season, especially that Miami was even going to be open. So that's why I wasn't worried about him leaving, because I know how those Miami guys are, because my former tight end coach. who played on the team with Cristobal.
Even after it became open, you were in denial until it happened. We had don't make me pull out the receipts. Don't make me pull. I keep my text messages. I can go back. Go back.
Please do, because I would like to know what I said at that point.
You thought I was crazy until the moment he left. Everyone thought I was crazy. I was on an island. I was Jon Snow in against the Jeff. You can go find Jon Snow sitting there with all the horses coming at him. That was me on that whole thing.
Yeah. So anyways, I think that the 21 season is different, and also I believe that all of those previous years, those were huge wins, but like I said, the roster and the mentality now is different, because after Oregon beat Ohio State last year, they didn't fall apart. They went on to win 8 more games in a row.
Oh, they didn't fall apart.
Yeah.
But the rematch went south. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, and I believe that is for multiple factors. Like, I do believe that Ohio State, obviously, they were the best. They were the most talented team in the nation last year, and I believe that the 25-26 day layoff hurt, and like all 4 teams that had buys in the college football playoff lost. And I believe that they had to figure out that they're going to have to figure out how to practice when you have a bye, because there should not be buys first and foremost. But you have to figure out how to get your team ready after a layoff, because it's actually a huge disadvantage. Anything over 2 weeks is now a disadvantage. Unless you had like a quarterback hurt or something and you need some time for him to come back. But yeah, so I look at this as a totally different thing. And I believe that Dan is going to have this team that they've played in a lot of big games. They've been embarrassed like they were last year. And I think that there's a certain humility that comes with that, and that they understand this was a huge win. They learned lessons from it. So I'm not worried about them coming out flat against Indiana or anything. Like if Indiana wins that game, it'll be because they played better. It won't be because Oregon came out, like reading their press clippings. Like, this ain't a rat poison game. Indiana looks too good to be a rat poison game.
So the remaining schedule 25-9, I think, because a lot of teams lost this past weekend. So here's what I think. Had they blown them out, I might have a different feeling. But they won a very close game. They played better than Penn State. There's just no doubt about that. But I feel like you look around the conference, you look at some of the games that have been played already. Like, this is a pretty deep conference, as we all knew. And some teams that you wondered about are looking pretty damn good, and they're going to play a lot of them. Indiana is going to be kind of scary. I'm not really worried about Rutgers, although they're not horrible. Wisconsin, I'm not worried about them. Iowa, I think, is going to be a challenge. I think USC is going to be a challenge. I think at UW is going to be a challenge. So maybe 4 of the next 7, I think, are going to be challenging. And I think those are going to be games that are going to come down to the fourth quarter. They might win them by 14 or 17, pulling away in the fourth quarter. But I think there's going to be some definite moments coming up where it's like, oh my God, they can lose these games. So I'm interested to see if they can actually exact some dominance on a good team. That's the next step.
I'm less concerned about the Iowa game. I'm increasingly less concerned about the Iowa game.
They muddy things up, man.
Yeah, but they cannot throw the football.
That's true.
They cannot. And if you can't throw the football, you can't beat Oregon. I mean, that's just.
I'm with you on that.
And they got too many athletes. It's just like.
But to me, that's like Wisconsin last year. That's like Cal in 2010. That's like at Washington State when Oregon almost lost in 2014. That's like that matchup where it could just be tough.
See, I actually think that the Rutgers game is going to be a harder stretch than the Iowa game.
Okay.
And I think Minnesota could be tough. I don't think that they're going to have any problem with USC because there's so much emotion in the game. There's going to be so many recruits there. There's going to be so much hype and pomp and circumstance surrounding the game. And also, USC, they might have quit by then already. Because,
all right.
Yeah, their fans are down right now. I told you that they were going to lose to Illinois. And now, this week, they got to play Michigan, which is going to, if they thought that Illinois was physical, Michigan might run the ball 60 times. And USC's D-line is thin. Bro, they are going to have major problems this week. major problems this week with Michigan. I'm letting you know that right now.
I hear you. All right, before we sign off, let's give just a really quick sneak peek ahead. Your instant threat level and prediction. Mine is 3.5. I do think that Oregon's going to win this game. I'm going to flip my final prediction on the Penn State-Oregon game where I had Penn State 33, Oregon 23. And now I'm going to go Oregon 33, Indiana 23.
Oh, okay. Oregon 23, Oh, wait,
Oregon
what?
33. I'm flipping my prediction from the Penn State game where I had Penn State 33, Oregon 23.
Oh, I thought you said Indiana 33, Oregon
no,
23.
No.
Like, damn.
Well, if I said that, I didn't mean to. I meant Oregon 33, Indiana 23.
Yeah. I believe that I'm putting this week's threat level at a 0.
Whoa. You gave Northwestern a 1.
I said this week's.
I know, but you gave Northwestern a 1. How are you going to give this a 0?
Because this week we play BYE.
You got me. Okay.
Hey, you said we. You said we. Hey, there you go, Aaron. Hey, first of all, I want to tell you. So we're recording this podcast, and how happy are you today? You should be elated and excited today.
Because the Cubs are in the playoffs starting tomorrow, and the Bears won.
Well, that too.
Why?
Because, bro, you get to talk about the Ducks instead of having to cover the sorry Trailblazers right now. You could be at Trailblazers Media Day right now, suffering, trying to find.
Like I wouldn't rather be there than having you come at me for 45 minutes now. But go ahead.
Trying to, racking your brain, trying to find bright spots. Oh my God, Dame's back at Media Day. It feels so right. He's not gonna play. And you could be living through that hell and just trying to figure out bright spots and clever takes about this terrible basketball team for 41 games at home and some games on the road, but instead you get to cover a winner. You don't have to live a poverty sports writer life this year. And you are also lucky. You got lucky as hell, Aaron, that my Dodgers didn't face your Cubs early in the playoffs, because then you would be a double loser.
Wait, you just said I'm a winner.
No. A winner for that. A loser for picking against the Ducks with
gotcha. Okay. Well, listen, like I said, just because I pick objectively, that doesn't mean I want these guys to lose. I've done one-on-ones with some of them. I like them, like Jaden Lamar, Mixon, cool kids, Poncho. I don't want these kids to lose, but I'm being objective. I picked them to lose. I picked them to lose against Ohio State last year at home. They won. I picked them to lose at Washington the year before. On the road, they lost, but I picked them to win in the conference championship game. I just make my picks. It is what it is. Yeah. I'm happy for them that they won. And look, if you ask me, Aaron, what would you rather see? The Ducks go 9-3 and play in the Alamo Bowl, or the Ducks go 11-1 and play in the playoffs? I would love to cover the playoffs. That would be a lot of fun. So of course, I'd rather them win. Same thing with Blazers fans. Blazers fans sometimes you hate I don't hate the Blazers. I've covered Super Bowls. I've covered big bowl games and national championship games. I've never covered the NBA Finals. I would love to cover the NBA Finals. I have a
question. If we go to the national championship game this year, do you want us to win or lose?
Oh, why would I? Of course I want them to win. I want them to win against Florida State. I want them to win against Auburn. I picked against Ohio State. I picked Auburn, but I picked Oregon to beat Ohio State.
If that happens, run me my money. That's all I know.
Oh, do you want to reveal the bet?
Yeah, go on.
You feeling good about it? Okay. So
no. Hold on. I just want to say, I am not saying that Oregon is going to win the national championship. I didn't pick them to win the national championship coming into this season. I predicted that they would be a playoff team. I said the floor was 10-2. I now believe the floor is 11-1. And
the floor. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the floor is. I think the floor is 11-1, and that this is a very good football team. They are becoming better, and we will see. You got to see what happens when you get into the tournament. But But I have one question for you before we get up out of here, Aaron. This is the question that should be clipped for social media. Aaron Fentress, is Oregon's championship window open this season?
It's too early, bro. Too early. I can't open the window yet. Because I have a lot of issues with Penn State right now. Now, I didn't open the window when they beat Ohio State at home, which I thought was the better team. And then the whole season I said that, I think Ohio State wins that matchup. I'm kind of down on Penn State, so I'm not sure if this necessarily opens the window. Remember, my window is smaller than your window. My window is not simply making the playoffs. My window is going into the playoffs as one of the 2 or 3 clear favorites. That's the window to me. Just getting the playoffs doesn't mean you're in the window. Well, so I still need to see more.
8 teams who make the playoff who have a legitimate chance to win it.
Yeah, some have a puncher's chance. But like last year, do you remember ESPN's like probability? Even when the Ducks were ranked number 1 and had beaten Penn State, like their probability was still like 17%. So they were saying that the window wasn't that great, and they were number 1 and undefeated. So that's what I'm saying. Is that
the interesting part about that though is the rankings, like those things clearly favor Oregon right now, which is honestly it's weird, bro. Because for the last couple of weeks, they have been number 1 in the ESPN FPI, which is weird to me because the FPI normally hates Oregon, and I'm like, this is weird. You know what I mean? So it's like, and now Oregon has a 87% chance. Them and Ohio State are tied with the highest percentage to go to the college football playoff. Yeah. You have. Oh, Dominion has a 15%. Wow. Memphis 34%, Texas 51, Texas A&M 56. Like you're significantly higher than Alabama, Ole Miss, Miami, even Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Vandy, Texas Tech. Like higher than all of them. They're number 1 in terms of the percentage, which is. I think that's very telling because these things usually, even though we don't like some of the metrics, they tend to have a little bit of merit.
Yeah. I will say this, just, the Dante Moore aspect of this whole thing. And again, he didn't light up. It wasn't like a Marcus Mariota-esque, he rushed for 70 and passed for 320 and put up 5 touchdowns. It wasn't like that, but it wasn't that type of game. It was an NFL type of game. Like that's what I'm saying. Special. Like it was an NFL style game where he played under control and took the plays that were there. Because a lot of times when you have those big games, it's not all about you. It's the fact that your receivers were roasting DBs, right? And your O-line gave you great protection, and you just sit back there and just and so that wasn't really there because Penn State's a good team. They have a good defense too, but he didn't make any mistakes. Like,
his heart rate. His worst pass was his heart rate went up.
Exactly. Like his worst throw was the one, the interception in OT. But prior to that, prior to that, he play fakes. He comes up and there's a DN right in his face. He dips under him, slides over. He already knew that Gary Bryant on the deep crossing route was open. He probably pre-snapped that to be open based on the clear out route and everything. He dupes, slides inside, boop, for a touchdown. Like that was like Joe Montana like. Yes. Right? And you're doing that. You're doing that in overtime, in a whiteout game at Penn State, and you're losing. And he's just like, oh, scoop, scoop,
boop,
touchdown. Like that's just like, okay, you're not supposed to be doing that. But I still stand by my prediction because my prediction was based on just math, the probability. Because usually when someone hasn't done that, right, and they have had struggles, it's like, okay, I gotta see them do it before I say they're going to do it. But he did it, right? And, so hats off to him, hats off to Stein and the development. If he goes to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, that's 3 straight quarterbacks they've sent to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, which would be
and remember,
amazing.
in the preseason, I told people, and people were like, George being a homer, blah, blah, blah. I said, Dante Moore, I said that he has a chance, a legitimate shot to be on the Heisman stage if they beat Penn State. Because if they beat Penn State, he will have played well. So I felt like that because what it takes to get on the Heisman stage is you have to be on one of the better teams in college football. So that was a check. Like you're, you know what I mean? And then you have to be on like a top 15 team in college football. Check. Okay, cool. And then you have to win a big game. Check. You have to. Well, the possibility was there for it. Yeah. The possibility was there for a check.
Right.
You're on a top 15 team, so you're gonna put up in this offense, like you're gonna put up stats. Like it's just like a foregone conclusion on some level. And he plays quarterback, so then now he's got little bitty check boxes that all point to the fact that if you beat Penn State and play well, and then your team finishes 10-2 or better, the likelihood of you being on that stage is very high. Can we agree? That was my 100%. That was my math on that.
Yeah, he's at 14 touchdowns with 1 pick right now. And he's completing around 70? He's close to 70, right? And you just won the signature win at Penn State, which is ranked number 2 in the whiteout game, blah, blah, blah. And you threw, he used touchdown pass. Yeah, there's no doubt. He's definitely, unless he falls apart at some point, I can't see how. And like you said, they're 11-1, 10-2. He's off the stage.
Yeah, and if he has a good game against Indiana too, like you can kind of coast until you get to the USC game, and then because that's going to be nationally televised and all that stuff. Right. It'll be hyped up, and then you play well there again. It's over at that point.
Okay. All right, we went hella long, but it was good stuff. I'm glad you got all that out. I know you were just chomping at the bit all weekend. I was glad, but we didn't talk about our bet. So our bet was in 2021. When you were raving about Mario this, Mario that, and I was like, if Miami comes calling, he's going to leave. We made a $100 bet if the Ducks would win the national title inside the next 5 years. So that's 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the last year. I said no, not to be a hater. I just said I didn't think they'd win it all inside of 5 years. And that's before Dan Lanning was hired, before Mario left.
What you actually said was, in addition to that is that the 2014-15 was the best it was going to get. You're never going to have that sort of thing.
No. I said they're winning 4 conference titles in 6 years and going to 2 national championship games inside of 4 years was the best era you're ever going to see at Oregon. That's what you have to duplicate. That's what I said. So, but again, that was a debate. That was before NIL really kicked in. That was before the transfer portal. So you've had 2 major things happen to help you: the transfer portal and the NIL money being thrown around, which has changed the landscape of college football. Our bet was before that.
Or we could have been able to continue to recruit well and been fine in that.
Maybe I'm just saying that Oregon has definitely benefited from that. But this is the year, or you're going to owe me $100. So now I have to decide. So seriously, if the Ducks are in the national championship game, if you ask me, you want to see the Ducks win and pay George $100, or you want to see the Ducks lose and collect $100? I'm going to say I'd rather see the Ducks win and pay you $100 because I'm not a hater. I'm just objective, which means if you're objective, at some point you're going to say something that people are going to consider negative. Otherwise, if you're always positive, you're what? You're a homer. So anyway.
Yeah, and I'm college football's honesty broker. So
there you go.
Before we get up out of here, big announcement for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Dan Lanning will be on the Unafraid Show, George Wrighster's college football podcast. So make sure you head over there on YouTube because you're probably watching this on YouTube too. Just go over there and check that out too. It'll be a great interview. Super excited. And shoot your questions over on Twitter.
All right. Good get. All right. Today's episode of the Ducks Confidential podcast was brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, George, good stuff. You actually went easy on me. I appreciate it.
Hey man, I just wanted to know how I needed to experience it through your mind.
Through my brain.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, we'll catch up soon. Preview Indiana.